This is a deck with all universal cards in it, and it has two payoff cards that are insane. And this deck is amazing. All right. It's so fun. And I haven't lost a single game yet. I played only 3, but it seems really good and really fun. It might require a lot of legendaries, but at least it's something to look forward to. So I am playing Cypius in this deck because he does trigger all your muster abilities again, and we have a lot of good muster abilities. And also, the 0-1s are kind of okay. We run a lot of units, so sometimes they could make some trades for us with by getting 1 power. But the main thing is the active ability. And let me just show you the payoff cards real quick, because you might be saying, why would I run all universal cards in my deck? These cards must be insane. They are. They really are. This is the new card right here, Ingrid. He is a 7/5/6. Muster ability. If your starting deck contains only universal cards, which of course ours is, the enemy discards 2 cards. Then you gain control of target enemy unit with equal or less attack than this. So that's already amazing. Then you create and play a copy of the last unit you played. And then you create and add 2 random universal units to your hand. Yeah, if you get this card down, every time I've played this card, my opponent just leaves because it's over. This card makes it all worth it, for sure. But if that card didn't make it worth it, all right, we have another one. We have another payoff card for you right here, and it's Freitas. This one, same thing, muster. If your starting deck contains only universal cards, perform the following action. This one, you draw 4 cards, deal 4 damage to any target. Target unit gains +4/+4. You can target itself. And you gain 4 health. And you return a unit from the waste to the field that costs 4 or less. Yeah, this card is really good too. I think Ingrid's better, but I would be happy playing either of these. These are amazing. So the deck is all universal cards. So we got Mercenary Gunslingers in here, of course, 3 of them. Just a solid card in any deck. We don't want to lose the board too much. It might be a little... We're trying to stall out till we get to those big cards, you know? We have PS8 launchers in here, of course, 3 of them. Deal 2 damage to a target unit. Just a solid card to keep us alive. We've got the Artifact Appraisers, 3 of them. We have a couple relics in the deck, a few relics that are going to stick around for a while, theoretically. I'll show you what they do in a little bit. But yeah, this guy works very well with that. Just trying to fight back on board, just trying to control the board, or just like stay on board until we get those big boys at the end. One of those relics is Sanctuary, which is a 1-cost activate, discard a card, add a random universal to your hand, unit to your hand, limit once per turn. So, I mean, this is just good because this deck has a lot of situational cards that you're not going to need in every single matchup. All right. So if you know that a card is not going to help you in the matchup, then you just discard it and you get a new random universal unit to your hand. And that could mean you get another Ingrid or Freitas, which is kind of crazy. And the last 1-cost card is Gambler's Coin. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw that many cards. I think this card is pretty good because you're going to have, like I said, a lot of situational cards, and you want to use this towards the end when you're getting towards those bigger turns, those higher energy turns, and you want to, when you're looking for Ingrid or Freitas, because that's kind of what it's all about, is getting to those cards. Going on to 2 costs, we have Lord Harf, who is just one of the best cards in the game. He's really good. We don't even really run that many effects in here. I think there's about 7. And yeah, I mean, he's just like got decent stats and can just disrupt your opponent a little bit and can enable you to clear some stuff early on and get some good value out of your cards. I think it's just a solid card. I'm currently running 3 of the Unstable Shield Generators. I think this card is like only good at the beginning of the game on turn 2 if you're playing against an aggressive deck, but you're probably going to need it against an aggressive deck. So, yeah, I mean, it just really is a stall card, and it should stall out for a turn, buy you a little time so you could drop some other stuff and fight back on board. Running 3 Cunning Diplomats because muster ability is really nice for our leader to replay, and has Defender. Defender's pretty nice for the deck as well. We don't have a lot of cards with Defender. Yeah, just draw power is necessary in any deck that you make, and it's just consistent. I'm running Scanner Probe in the deck, which is a pretty unique card. It's a legendary. There's a lot of legendaries in the deck. On attack, look at the top card of the enemy's deck. You may swap a card from your hand with that card. This card's really nice, especially against aggressive decks, because we have a lot of cards. Like I said before, I'm going to repeat myself a million times. We have a lot of situational cards. And these situational cards are not going to really do too much for our opponent usually. So being able to swap their top card of the deck, make them draw this card that they don't even ever want to play. It's probably going to instantly go into the bank. It's pretty nice, especially later on into the game when cards are a lot more scarce. But yeah, especially against aggro decks where they're going to want to be drawing, especially if they go first. They're going to want to draw something that will help them use all their energy and fight on board. And this just kind of gets rid of it, and it has battle ready. So we can actually trade into something as well. It's pretty nice. And then I am running the new Relic Stabilized Shard. This card seems like a must-have for like any deck that's a little slow. This is not, it's not like all in on fast-paced aggression. So yeah, this card, this Relic, you choose a card type, and then you gain a counter every time you play a card. Like, that ability is irrelevant. I'll explain in a second, but the whole thing is that this Relic gives you 1 energy at the start of your turn. You just gain an energy for that turn only. And basically you get 2 energy a turn. Kind of like you're running the chamber, but you're not. Yeah. This card is nice. You do have to invest 2 energy into playing it once, but it will definitely pay for itself. And especially when we have some big cards like you'll see a bit later, and like Ingrid and Freitas, you're going to really like that energy a lot. But the second ability of this is that when you play it, you choose a card type. And then, so you choose either unit, effect, relic, whatever. And then if this relic has 8 or more counters, you can remove all counters from it and copy the next card that you play. How do you get counters? At the end of your turn, if a card of the chosen type was played, this relic gains 1 counter. So it will take you at least 8 more turns to get this off, which is probably not going to come up at all. I doubt the game's going to go on for that long, but if it does, that's just a bonus. I haven't seen it go off yet, but just the 1 energy by itself is just super good. Another relic that we have in here is Star Chart. Trying this out right now. I think it goes along with the deck because we have all these cards that we don't necessarily want to see, the situational cards. And if we're looking for specific cards like those late game finishers, this card is really good at doing that. And I think it's just good for the slower matchups or when you have time to play it. Otherwise, you could bank it and you don't feel too bad about it. Or you could give it to your opponent with that scanner probe. Next is Miasmancer. This is a new card that just came out. It is a 3/3/3 muster. All keywords are disabled this turn. Muster abilities don't trigger until your next turn. So this is a powerful disruption tool, and it does have a muster effect that we can reactivate with our leader. So yeah, I think this card works perfectly in the deck. I like it a lot. I've got 2 saboteurs in here, which are just enemy relic hate. I think relics are going to be, I mean, as you can see in my deck, I'm running quite a few relics. Yeah, I think relics are going to be pretty prevalent in this new expansion. So I wouldn't be surprised if like every deck is playing these. And fortunately, I don't think the aggressive decks really have room for these. So I think my deck will get away with some relic stuff for a bit. I like this card in the meta. I'm running 1 EMP Shockwave, kind of in the same boat with the relic guy. It is good for destroying relics, but also destroying all upgrades. This card is in here for Augen Core. I think this card is totally okay to run in this deck since it's a situational kind of deck, and we have cards to help us with that. So yeah, I like this for the occasional Augen Core matchup. Estel's Glaive, obviously one of the best cards in the game. Just super solid against aggressive decks mostly. Black Market Fixer, another staple in a lot of decks. Running 3 copies of him, of course, and really good muster ability for our leader. So I actually was running 1 Ranksei. This is a new legendary card. I think it's cool, but I actually heard that the muster ability, if it transforms your, when you use your leader, when you use your Paragon and he uses this muster ability again, then, and he transforms, then it will actually stop his chain of muster. So I'm actually going to take this card out right now, and I'm going to put in another one of the Miasmancer, whatever you want to call him. Next up, Silent Surgeon. This is a good muster ability to help us just stay alive. We don't really have any heal in the deck besides this. There's like one other card that can sometimes heal us, but Pretty nice ability to trigger again with our Paragon a bit later if we need it. It's also not a bad card to give to our opponents with the Scanner Probe because it's probably not going to help progress their game plan. I am running Kozo, just another good muster ability for our Paragon. Not the best card, but this card just does give you a lot of value, and it could actually end up getting you back to the game if you hit something really good. I'm not so crazy about this card, but I'm trying him out right now. Gosan. It's a legendary. He has a pretty okay muster ability to re-trigger with our leader. You heal yourself equal to half the damage taken on the previous enemy turn, rounded up, and then you deal that much damage one at a time to random enemy targets. So, could help you a little bit. Just a decent like control tool, and if you don't need it, you could bank it or discard it. Of course, we got Wong in here, really good with the Paragon ability yet again, and just draw power. I'm running 2 copies of Annihilate just for single target removal if we need it. Because we are playing like a control mid-range kind of deck, so it also does kill a relic, it could, but mostly for the target unit. And then of course we've got Ingrid, and we've got Freitas, the cards that I talked about earlier, the late game finishers. Yeah, I think this deck is actually pretty fire with these new additions, especially Ingrid. Ingrid really just, she wins games, she really does. And the relic that gives you an extra energy every single turn is just kind of the icing on the cake. It's really nice with a slower deck like this that can get use out of it. I'm going to leave the deck code in the description below. So if you want to check it out, do so. And I hope you enjoy it. I know it does have a lot of legendaries in it. Probably it's definitely not a budget-friendly deck by any means. But hope you guys enjoy it if you try it. Peace.